In Star Wars during Emperor Palpatine's reign, he appointed different types of guardsmen to protect as personal bodyguards for himself, members of the Imperial Ruling Council, and the Grand Vizier. However, other Imperial leaders drew upon the guardsman tradition as protection for themselves too. This is a rundown of the different types of formidable guardsmen during the time of the Galactic Empire, the Imperial Remnant, and the First Order. The Emperor's Royal Guard are the most notorious of personal guardsmen on the list. Deriving from the Republic's Red Guard, they were handpicked by the Emperor under strict conditions of size, strength, intelligence, and loyalty. Answering directly to the Emperor, the best of the best stormtroopers qualified under extreme training at the Imperial Royal Guard Academy on the lifeless world of Yinkor. The weaponry of these guardsmen were commonly equipped with vibro swords, force pikes, and in addition heavy blaster pistols for combat. The Shadow Guard were elite black armoured royal guards picked by Emperor Palpatine for their force sensitivity. As silent soldiers, Shadow Guards were often assigned to eliminate suspected Jedi after receiving a direct order from the Emperor himself. It was suspected that these warriors were in fact former Jedi, like the Inquisitors, who had been captured and brainwashed into serving the Emperor. However, their mysterious origins were never understood. The Shadow Guard's force abilities even extended to using force lightning, as well as other force techniques, to bombard their targets. Shadow Guards were often supported by the Imperial military, including stormtroopers and Imperial Navy commandos. Their weaponry consisted of a lightsaber pike and a heavy blaster pistol. The Sun Guard was an ancient warrior from the inner rim world of Thyrsus. They were feared across the galaxy for their mercenary reputation. However, they lacked force sensitivity, but there were some exceptions. During their history, the Sun Guard would come to serve the Order of the Sith Lords, including Darth Plagueis and eventually Darth Sidious as part of the Galactic Empire. Although they were not officially part of the Imperial military, some of the Sun Guards did join the ranks of the Imperial Army and the Stormtrooper Corps. Their helmet and armour appearance greatly influenced armour designs of the Galactic Empire, in particular the uniform of the Emperor's Royal Guard. Although the Sun Guard helmet and armour was mainly yellow in colour, they were known to be seen wearing silver and black armour too. It is from Thursan culture that the Achani martial art technique was believed to have been created. This was later used and improved by Emperor Palpatine to train his royal guardsmen. The common weaponry of the Sun Guard was a metre-long double-handed pike equipped with vibro blades on either end. The Saber Guard was stationed on the planet Kamino to protect top-secret cloning facilities on Tamira City. In 1BBY, the Galactic Empire set up the Imperial Saber program to recruit and train Force sensitives to become elite security guards in order to combat against other Force users who would attack. They were adept in lightsaber combat, using two lightsabers that emitted red-coloured blades, similar to the Imperial Inquisitor. However, this type of guard was not part of the Imperial military and was rarely seen fighting alongside stormtroopers. The Saber Guard was introduced as part of the video game Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2 in 2010. The Imperial Sith Acolyte, like the Saber Guard, were trained as part of the Saber program on the planet Kamino. However, although their recruitment origins were unclear, many developed aggressive techniques and could channel the Force for destructive purposes. They gained a suspicious reputation among their Imperial facility workers to be murderous and sadistic for causing fatal accidents which appeared to be at their own pleasure. Sith Acolytes would often accompany Saber Guards to protect cloning facilities. However, they were vulnerable to individuals trained in lightsaber combat when solely focusing on utilizing Force-based attacks. The Imperial Senate Sentinel was a subdivision unit of the Imperial Senate Guard. However, the Senate Sentinels protected the Jedi Temple on behalf of the Senate. Each Sentinel was handpicked by the Emperor to guard and watch over the ruins of the Jedi Temple, to stop unwanted looting from those who would dare. Although they appeared very similar to the Imperial Senate Guard, their armour was grey and using a huge staff as their main weaponry. The Imperial Sovereign Protector were known as Royal Guard Champions during the time of Emperor Palpatine's return to lead the Dark Empire of the Deep Core in 10 ABY. Only the top-performing Royal Guards were promoted to the title of Sovereign Protector. Their armour was changed to distinguish them from the regular Royal Guards by possessing a black chestplate, long gloves and a black cape. The frontal section of their helmet was coloured black, while the rest remained red. Extreme standards were set for combat fitness, including stamina, strength, intelligence and dexterity. Their combat training included the use of a heavy blaster pistol and the deadly double vibroblade. The Emperor would assign his sovereign protectors to vital missions or personal protection on the planet Biss. Others were deployed to guard Palpatine's important interests throughout the galaxy. The Imperial Senate Guard was a subunit of guards formed from the elements of the Senate Guard of the Old Republic. Fiercely loyal to Emperor Palpatine, they served as protectors of the Imperial Senate, and their armour was a distinctly blue version of the red and black suits worn by the Emperor's royal guards. However, their duties did not always keep stationed at the Senate. On occasions they were assigned with the protection of key Imperial installations and high-ranking officials. Even assassination missions were initiated if necessary to hunt down Force sensitives. The Imperial Senate Guards would occasionally work alongside the Imperial military to achieve the objectives of the Empire. The Imperial Praetorian Guard were elite personal security soldiers assigned by the Imperial Remnant to guard important Imperial leaders and officials after the fall of the Empire. They were picked by the Imperial Remnant's military leadership as extremely skilled warriors who were savage in their fighting approach. The Praetorian Guard's weaponry included an electro-chain whip and a long sword with a vibro blade. They were a predecessor to the First Order's elite Praetorian Guards, which also wore segmented armour and the robe design seen on the old Imperial Royal Guards. The First Order's elite Praetorian Guard were a force of 8 humans who protected Supreme Leader Snoke. Stationed on board Snoke's flagship, the mega-class dreadnought The Supremacy, they held a mini-hierarchy of seniority, and they also wore different red armour plating and helmet designs. Their weaponry was extensive and included long vibro axes, electro-chain whips, vibro blades, and daggers. The Sovereign Protector was an elite bodyguard to Darth Sidious during his return from death to lead the new Sith Empire. These crimson-armoured sentinels were considered the best soldiers of the Sith army troopers trained from the Sith Eternal Cult. Their armour, helmet, and overall appearance resembled the Sith Trooper, but with a full-body cape similar to the old Imperial Royal Guards of the Galactic Empire. So that's the guard types as part of the Galactic Empire, Imperial Remnant and First Order from Star Wars Legends and Canon. As always, thanks for watching, and long live the Empire.